The film begins with a man in his underwear walking into a forest, appearing disoriented. At the same time, we hear a 911 call in which a woman reports that her husband has wandered into the forest and is missing. Another call comes in, and someone explains that they are trapped in their room and cannot leave. A third call comes in from someone who reports seeing several people standing completely still in front of the door. The scene then shifts to a classroom, where a teacher named Mr. Johnson is preparing to administer the SAT exams to a group of students. Lizzie, Ash, and Rory are the girls in the group, and Jake is the guy. Johnson then collects everyone's phones and locks them in a cabinet to ensure that no one cheats. As soon as the exam begins, Jake throws a piece of paper intended for Lizzie into Ash's desk. She picks it up and realizes Jake is inviting Lizzie to make out later. When Johnson notices the disruption, he encourages the students to concentrate on their papers. Shortly after, the phones locked in the cabinet begin to ring constantly, creating a distraction in the exam hall. Johnson also gets a call, and when he answers, he is visibly upset by what he hears. He then asks Rory to keep an eye on the other students before abruptly leaving the classroom. After some time, the teacher has yet to return. The phones in the cabinet continue to ring, which concerns the students. When Jake can't take it any longer, he gets up and attempts to open the cabinet, but Rory tells him to stop. At this point, everyone hears an announcement over the speaker, instructing the students to remain in the classroom and not leave. The announcer appears nervous and shakes, causing everyone to panic. The students then turn on the radio to learn what's going on outside. They receive several distressing news reports revealing that something has landed on Earth, and the military is attempting to figure it out. Moments later, they hear gunshots from outside, and a dead bird crashes into the classroom window. Terrified, the group breaks into the cabinet and eventually retrieves their phones. They then notice numerous missed calls and texts from their family members. During this time, Ash begins to have strange hallucinations and leaves the classroom, accompanied by her friends. They are surprised to see the hallway empty, with no teachers or students in sight. The group then discovers a strange door that blocks the entire hallway. When they throw objects at it, the door immediately sucks them in. Everyone is terrified by this, but Ash becomes intrigued and suggests they try it to see where it leads. Her words alarmed the others, and they fled. Regardless, Ash remains mesmerized by the mysterious door. She's about to enter when Lizzie appears and pulls her away. However, Ash misinterprets her intentions and starts kissing Lizzie, which Jake notices. He becomes enraged at her for touching his girlfriend, sparking a heated argument between them. During the confrontation, Ash inadvertently pushes Jake toward the door, sucking him in alongside Rory, who was nearby. This makes her feel guilty, so she enters the portal alone, leaving Lizzie behind in the hallway. Following that, we see some shots of the city, which has been completely deserted since millions of people went missing. A news reporter reveals that, while many people have vanished, some have miraculously returned through the door. Scientists are trying to figure out what's going on, so they created Project Knockers. It turns out that they purposefully sent volunteers to the mysterious door, who will report back on their experiences when they return. The next scene introduces us to 3 such volunteers, a couple named Vince and Becky, as well as their friend Patrick. They are told that they can only stay beyond the door for 12 minutes because if they stay longer, the door will take control of them. The trio soon arrives at a house wearing a spacesuit where they come across the mysterious door. As they get closer, they each hear strange, unsettling sounds emanating from within. Once inside, they find themselves in a large house with 3 spherically arranged doors. Becky suggests that they split up to explore the various rooms and gather as much information as possible. Later, we see Patrick exploring the strange place and reporting back to his superiors. He quickly detects the sound of someone crying in the distance and follows it. Shortly afterwards, he enters a room and notices a woman lying in bed, surrounded by flowers. Patrick informs his superiors about the discovery and requests the woman's name. She responds that her name is Rose and chastises him for forgetting her so easily. This perplexes Patrick, as he has never seen this woman before. Meanwhile, Becky finds herself in a white kitchen with all of the utensils arranged in unusual positions. She then notices an empty cradle moving by itself. She pauses, and a few moments later notices a person's shadow on the door. Meanwhile, Vince enters the 3rd door and informs his team that the room is beautifully decorated. He notices a clock on the wall that reads 3 o'clock, as well as a statue. Moving to another room, he discovers a clock that reads 6 o'clock and the same statue but with a different expression. He then moves on and comes across another clock that reads 9 o'clock, and the same statue with square-shaped eyes. Returning to Patrick, he attempts to communicate with the strange woman, but she has a seizure and begs for his assistance. Patrick rushes to help her, but she soon starts laughing, revealing that it was all an act. She then begs him not to leave her again, and despite his confusion, Patrick reluctantly agrees. With only 5 minutes left, Patrick's helmet suddenly begins to fill with flowers, as the woman watches in amusement. As the petals overwhelm him, Patrick struggles to breathe and eventually dies. Meanwhile, Becky has a hallucination that she is with her boyfriend Vince and pregnant. This vision makes her very emotional because she realizes she has lost her child in reality. Vince, the illusionist, attempts to persuade Becky that this is her true reality, but she refuses and shoots him with a phaser. Meanwhile, Vince is attempting to flee when he stumbles into another room and encounters 2 other versions of himself. The 3 then argue over who is the real Vince. In a sinister twist, the 2 fake versions alter his spacesuit clothing, rendering him indistinguishable from them. Becky soon arrives in the same room, perplexed by the presence of multiple Vinces. Each one attempts to persuade her that he is the real Vince. Becky, irritated, shoots one of them after noticing he is dressed for winter in the middle of summer. However, she is still unsure about the other 2, so she asks them about their lives and relationships. She eventually identifies the real Vince, but something takes control of her and she shoots him. This overwhelms her with guilt, and she decides to commit suicide as well. The next scene features a scientist named Jamal Adkins listening to the radio in the morning. According to the news, the door has already caused half of the world's population to disappear. We also learned that Project Knockers failed miserably, with nearly all of the volunteers not returning. As a result, the public is advised to contact the police immediately and report any sightings of the door. Jamal turns off the radio and walks to a nearby forest. He soon arrives at one of the mysterious doors and prepares his equipment to communicate with it. After several attempts, the door finally responds, surprising the man. The door appears to know all about the scientist, including his name and social security number. Jamal then starts asking the door questions, and it responds in a friendly way, even calling him Buddy. Jamal inquires as to the origin of the door and its purpose. It reveals that it is from a more advanced civilization and has come to observe and document humanity's existence. Later, Jamal invites his scientist friend Kathy to his home, where she arrives with her young boyfriend Leo. Jamal is skeptical of Leo, but eventually decides to trust Kathy's judgment. He tells them that he found a door in the woods. Both are shocked to hear this, and Leo suggests that they report it, but Jamal clarifies that not all doors are dangerous, and that it appears cooperative and friendly. After that, they go to the forest where Jamal shows them the door. He resets his equipment and demonstrates how he communicates with it. He introduces Kathy and Leo to the door, which greets them warmly. Kathy is ecstatic because she understands that this is revolutionary and has the potential to change everything. However, Leo is skeptical, so he takes a moment to call someone and report what he has discovered. Meanwhile, Kathy continues to converse with the door and inquires about its name. The door responds with the name Lamage, which is Jamal spelled backwards. Kathy then inquires as to why it is here, to which Lamage responds that it is here to study and archive human existence. Kathy becomes ecstatic upon hearing this, believing that she can uncover the secrets of the entire universe through Lamage. She tells Jamal that they can finally be the cosmic explorers they've always wished for. To their dismay, a cop named Ricky arrives, who happens to be Leo's friend. He immediately points a gun at Kathy and tells her to step back from the door. Following that, he arrests Jamal for interacting with the door. When Ricky inquires about his name, the door responds on his behalf. This shocks the cop because he has never seen a talking door before. Before Ricky can process this, Kathy hits him with a branch, causing him to accidentally shoot Leo to death. The cop, horrified, points his gun at Jamal and attempts to shoot him, prompting the scientist to seek assistance from Lamage. In response, the door hypnotizes the cop, causing him to shoot himself. Both Kathy and Jamal are devastated by the turn of events, but they are also relieved to be safe. The door then greets them as friends and announces that it is time for them to be refreshed. They become excited as they notice a large number of celestial objects falling from the sky. The next scene features a streamer named Midnight Martin in a video meeting with a parallel world expert named Dr. Alan Price. Alan appears strange, as if he is being controlled by something. Martin questions him about the doors. Alan responds that the door's arrival has changed everything. He emphasizes that humanity is entering a new era as it adapts to a changing world. Regardless, Martin is skeptical of the door's purpose. He asks the expert if they should prepare to fight against the doors to ensure their survival. However, Alan responds that there is nothing they can do to stop them, because the doors make all decisions and control everything. Martin becomes uneasy upon hearing this and inquires as to how they should handle the situation. Alan claims that all they can do is wait for a refresh, but Martin laughs at the idea of comparing humans to web browsers. During their conversation, the lights begin to flicker, resulting in a brief network outage. When it resumes, Martin wonders if the people who come back from the door have changed, but Alan says he already knows the answer. He then addresses the streamer by his real name, Paul, which no one else is aware of. Martin is shocked and wonders how Alan knows this, but the latter tells him to accept the door, promising that all his fears and insecurities will be erased and refreshed. Martin then tries to say something, but Alan predicts what he will say each time, confusing him even more. In the final scene, something takes control of Martin, causing him to scream in pain. Meanwhile, Alan observes everything with a strange smile and encourages the streamer to accept the door. Martin removes his clothes and calmly heads upstairs. The film ends as the broadcast ends, and Alan greets him with, "Welcome." All right, that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. It really helps the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and see you next time.